From the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, it's the final day of Fox Soccer's coverage of the Nike International Friendlies. The U.S. under-17s squaring off with the U-17s from Brazil. We take a look at the tournament table. Both teams coming in with identical records after 2 matches. Both were able to get a win against Turkey and then a draw against France. Happy to have you along here on Fox Soccer alongside former U.S. national team center back Jimmy Conrad. My name is Mark Rogandino. Jimmy, we've seen a lot of great things from this U.S. team over the course of 2 games, but what do you expect from Wilmer Cabrera's guys today?
Well, from the U.S. perspective, I don't think you could have written a better script to the culmination of this tournament. But for them to win today and be champions against Brazil, the U.S. players have to do 2 things and 2 things only. 1, they got to put immediate pressure on the ball right after they lose it, especially high up the field. And 2, they got to get the ball to their playmaker, their star, number 10, Junior Flores.
Yeah, Junior Flores has been a true star for the U.S. Let's take a look at the highlights from the other night against Turkey. We'll get to his name in just a moment, but first it was Tyler Turner heading one home to give the U.S. a 1-0 lead. A hard challenge right before halftime sends Turkey down a man heading into the second half, but that didn't stop Turkey from equalizing just 2 minutes into the second half. And then in the 88th minute, Wesley Wade nods it down. Junior Flores there to nod it home for your game winner. 2-1 was your final. So we turn the attention now over to Brazil. There's never been a question about the talent level of the Brazilian side, but can they put it all together?
I think the main obstacle that Brazil has to overcome is themselves. They should have beat Turkey by multiple goals. They should have beat France, but they settled for a tie. If they can figure it out and capitalize on their opportunities, because we know they're going to get them with the talent on their roster, it could be a high-scoring affair for the Brazilians.
Yeah, certainly we've seen a lot of creative and crafty players for this Brazilian team. We'll see if that will continue coming up this evening. All right, we turn the focus now back over to the U.S. and let's talk defense for a moment. There's one thing they haven't had, and that's a shutout in this competition. They're going to need some good defending today.
And that's going to start with number 6, their captain from last game, Tyler Turner. He is a guy, simply put, that makes plays. Whether good, that's scoring a goal against Turkey, or bad, giving an unfortunate own goal to France, he's a guy that can make a difference, and he's going to be a catalyst for them in the back, whether it's through organization or winning balls, to make a difference for the U.S. defense.
Yeah, one of the things, Jimmy, that has been a consistent piece for Wilmer Cabrera is the fact that it has been the same back 4 every game coming into this 3rd game. All right, when we come back, these teams played to a 0-0 draw in the 2010 edition of the tournament. Today they play for a trophy. It's the lineups in the first half kick when we come back. Handshake between the players for U.S. and Brazil, but you would imagine that's where the friendly escapades will come to a halt as we're about to kick off the first half. First, we get to the lineups for the home team and Wilmer Cabrera's 11.
This is the lineup we saw against France in the first game of the tournament. Only 2 changes. Chris Lima comes in for Angel Heredia, and Corey Baird comes in for DeAndre Robinson. So it's really going to be on Corey Baird to establish a relationship with Wesley Wade right off the start.
As we turn over to Brazil, the visitors and their 11, and pretty much the same case, Jimmy, a lot of the same names they've used in the first 2 games.
Yeah, very consistent lineup for Brazil throughout this tournament, but the main guys are Captain Eriks. He is a man amongst boys, and I expect him to have a big game tonight.
Eriks, as Jimmy just mentioned, the captain, but also a product of Internacional down there in Porto Alegre. Wilmer Cabrera has been in charge for over 4 years now at the U-17 level for the U.S. And on the other side, you have Emerson de Avila, the head coach for Brazil, born originally in Belo Horizonte, and actually has some ties with Cruzeiro down in Brazilian football. The whistle from Matthew Forster gets us underway. A packed house here at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. We're about an hour south of Tampa, Florida. And it is all to play for here between the U.S. in white, attacking from left to right across your screen, and Brazil in those customary yellow tops with the blue shorts and blue socks. They defend the goal to Jimmy and my right. There is the aforementioned captain for Brazil, Eriks, coming in to head that ball away as he challenged with Corey Baird at about midfield. Flores will step on it here for the U.S., trying to get to the end line. Does he have enough to find a window? He does not to send the initial cross in, but the U.S. will earn a corner here in just the opening moments of the match. Short corner this time. Flores cuts it back onto his right foot and tripped up there by Gabriel.
It's good and early indication from the U.S. that what they've done in the last 2 games of this tournament hasn't changed. They've come out on the front foot. First 20, 30 minutes has really been all them against Turkey and France. It looks like it's heading that direction against Brazil.
2 standing over the ball, Flores and Lima. Lima with a very good left foot. That's one of the reasons he's lining up on the left side of midfield for Cabrera in the U.S. today. Moore with the header, loose ball, and it's an early start. Brilliant for the U.S. Rubio Rubin, 1-0 red, white, and blue.
Take a look at it, a ball from Junior Flores. Great awareness by Rubio Rubin. Fantastic touch. Right after he hit it, you could tell. He knew exactly what had happened. Great celebration. Assistant coach Eric Imler for the US U17s could not stop talking about this kid, Rubio Rubin. Hadn't seen too much of it in the first 2 games, some glimpses here and there. There he shows his true skill and class. Great goal.
Jimmy, literally not more than 30 seconds after you just got done talking about an early start for the U.S. They scored in the 19th minute against Turkey. They scored in the 26th minute against France. They topped both of those with a goal in the 2nd minute here against Brazil.
Yeah, the thing you have to worry about with a team like Brazil is, did you just awake a sleeping giant?
Right.
They have so much talent. They're kind of the guys that do a lot of individual stuff, but now that they're down a goal, I think maybe it puts them more on the same page. It makes it really clear what they have to do to get back in this game.
Lima under pressure. Gabriel comes away with it. Looking for the quick ball in behind the U.S. back 4. Pushed away, though, there by Connor Donovan, and now a free kick here for Brazil. So a dream start for Wilmer Cabrera and this U.S. under-17 team. A goal in the opening moments. And oh, by the way, that's now 5 different goal scorers for Wilmer Cabrera's team. Turner. Out wide here for Requejo Jr. Looking in for Flores. Good collection under pressure, and he earns the throw here for the U.S.
Each time the U.S. had scored in their previous games early, the other team, whether it was France or Turkey, was on the ropes for the next 5 minutes. And U.S. had good chances to score another one and put it to 2-0. So it'll be interesting to see if Brazil loses their composure, if they can keep it together, keep their shape, and not give everything up.
Mateus Quiros whistled for the foul there. The U.S. is going to earn their 2nd corner of this opening half. I don't know that you could have sketched up a better blueprint for the U.S. coming into their 3rd and final game here at the Nike International Friendlies. Second corner of the game. Bent in toward the near post, headed out there by the striker Bruno.
I've been in games like this before, Mark, where you score so early, now you're thinking as a defender, I've got to defend this lead for 89 minutes. It puts you in a different kind of mindset. But hopefully the U.S. has got the right idea to go for the 2nd one.
Great ball in just over the head of Connor Donovan. Not sure if anyone got a touch on it. We'll wait for the indication from the near side AR, and indeed it is a throw here for Brazil.
Take a look at it. Connor Donovan pulls out of it just for a split second. It's probably a pretty good idea. I think I put my head in a few too many different dangerous situations, and that's why I'm here sitting next to you talking about the game, Mark.
I was just thinking the same thing. Jimmy Conrad, Mark Rogandino, and the rest of our Fox Soccer crew. Glad you could join us here for a quote-unquote championship Sunday here in the Nike International Friendlies. Abner able to get there before Corey Baird, excuse me. 7th appearance, by the way, for Brazil in the Nike International Friendlies. This is the 9th edition of the competition, and the U.S. have appeared in it every year. Flores in the corner. Double team comes in from behind. Walney with the helpful defense. Baird trying to get back into some space. Shaquille Moore coming in with the tackle.
Good tackle by Shaquille Moore on their playmaker, number 10, Gabriel.
Pass in behind Bruno. So Requejo Jr. with the clearance out towards midfield. Good tracking back here from Wesley Wade to win it for the U.S. His speed element could be a huge X factor today for the red, white, and blue. Baird wanted to dump it back off for Wade, and a late whistle there from Matthew Forster will give the U.S. a free kick. loose here for Joe Anderson. Kabala tracking back. He should be feeling fresh today after not seeing any minutes against Turkey. One of the best holders of the ball in the central part of the midfield for Wilmer Cabrera. They'll probably have to do a lot of that here this evening.
Good shot at Kabala there. Getting the ball, getting in a good spot. One of the main responsibilities for a defensive mid is to protect the back four. Got himself recovered well, won the ball, drew a foul.
Moore collects the long ball. Kabala, little chip forward, is under a little bit of pressure. Eriks will clear from the back. Abner touches into the feet of Walney, the Fluminense product. Last touch there by Brazil to give the U.S. a throw.
Another great start from the U.S. Their energy, their activity, both on and off the ball, when they get it, play and move. It's just a matter of whether they can sustain it for a full game. We've seen it 25, 30 minutes, start games. Can they make it to a half? Can they pick their spots? There's going to be ebbs and flows. Brazil's going to have some of the ball, so they have to make sure they really concentrate on their shape and their discipline and just concentration in general. Make sure they don't give anything away, especially this part of the game.
Quick restart for the U.S. into the feet of the goal scorer, Rubio Ruben. Moore tripped up there by Walney. The U.S. will have an opportunity to set up a free kick about 40 yards out from the Brazil goal.
Good touch away from pressure by Shaquille Moore. As a U.S. fan, I'd be very excited to see how much more of an influence he's having on the attack. I don't think he got that far against Turkey up the field. He was really limited in what he wanted to do, wasn't as venturous. I think Turkey changed their shape because of John Requeijo and Shaquille Moore on the outside backs flying forward like they did against France. But you can already tell now Requeijo and Moore getting forward. It's making a big difference for the U.S. offense.
Here's Moore on the ball. Zips it into the feet of Baird. Couldn't hold it with his back to the Brazil goal. Pops loose for Connor Donovan. Probably a wise decision just to reset things as he sends it all the way back for Paul Christensen.
Brazil looks frustrated right now. They look a little bit out of sorts. They're not used to not being the best team on the field at all points of the game. This is a good time for the U.S. to take advantage of that.
Kabala. Moore. Ruben. Diagonal run here from Baird, trying to touch it in toward the space. Cuts it back onto his left foot. Good defending there. But the U.S. went right back. Ruben, hard ball driven in. And it winds up in the gloves of Guilherme.
Another good play by Rubio Ruben. Definitely buoyed with energy after scoring his goal. He's very active today.
Like the back four for Wilmer Cabrera, Flores and Rubio Ruben have been the only really other two consistent pieces in the starting lineup for this U.S. under-17 team.
It's a tough ask, I think, for any of the coaches in this competition to have to field the same team three games in 6 days. You're going to have to mix it up a little bit, and you have to show some trust to some of your other players in the pool to give them a run out and see if they're really qualified to be a part of the U17 national team.
Good use of the body there from Wesley Wade. Flores onto his right foot, pulls the trigger, deflected out. Marcel there to defend centrally for Brazil. Requeijo Jr. lifts his chin, ball in on toward the back post, but in the gloves of the Brazil keeper, Guilherme. Quiros, long attacking run. Softly into the gloves of Christensen. Christensen back in the nets after playing against France back on Wednesday night. 2-2 was the final in that one. But you can hardly blame Paul Christensen for the way the second goal ended up off of the foot of Tyler Turner, his own center back. Christensen will pick up cap number 6 with the U.S. under-17 national team here today. possession here from the U.S. Baird. Wade. And deflected out. Thought initially it might be a corner for the U.S., but the indication is a goal kick here for Brazil.
Take a look here. Good interchange. Corey Baird, Wesley Wade. Good move here. It's unfortunate he didn't get a corner kick out of that. You can tell the U.S. is playing with a lot of confidence, feeling good about themselves. They just got to maintain that and be smart. Keep their shape. Don't give the Brazilians any chances. Brazil's known for their rhythm, how they keep the ball. The U.S. has done a great job of breaking that stuff up, not letting them get into and playing the way that they want.
Saw Gabriel on the ball, the number 10 for Brazil a moment ago. We've seen him a couple of times when Jimmy and I have shown up early to catch the early game. Very crafty, confident on the ball. Almost does a little too much, though, sometimes with it. Baird opening the hip, nobody out wide to support him, so he dumps it off here for Kabala, and now out wide for Moore.
Very un-Brazil-like fashion. They haven't been patient. Their two best opportunities to get out of the U.S. pressure has been switches from the point of attack by Gabriel. He's hit the outside back, and then when they get it there, either Quiros take a shot or they're forcing a pass, and they just need to be a little bit more patient if they want to break down this U.S. defense.
I mean, I would imagine during your U.S. national team career, you lined up against not only possession-oriented teams, but Brazil a time or two. And how frustrating that can get for a player when you can't get the ball and they just continue to touch it around.
It's incredibly frustrating. And there's got to be a lot of trust amongst your teammates about how are we going to solve this on the field. Because you can't ask your coaches to solve it for you when the game's going on.
So far, the shoe on the other foot, though. It's the U.S. that has dominated the possession so far. We'll see how Brazil decides to adapt to that. Shaquille Moore comes forward with a chance with a throw here for the U.S. Looking for Baird just inside the 18. Difficult ball to handle, but he does well with it, and he'll earn another throw here for the red, white, and blue. Moore trying to play a left-footed ball in towards the heart of the area. Wade was a lone player there for the U.S. Riquelme Jr., good rise up to head the initial ball, but a counter-attacking chance available here for Brazil. Joe Anderson. Out wide now here for Gabriel. Walney. Moore trying to tackle it away, and he does on the second effort, but it'll be a throw here for the Brazilians.
Much better sequence for Brazil. Quiros wins the second ball from Riquelme's header. Makes a good decision to keep it. Now Brazil's playing in the U.S. half, which ultimately makes the U.S. defenders a little bit more tired chasing the ball around.
Abner decides to switch it through here. Zé Augusto. And now Quiros back out wide. Just enough of a touch there from Abner. Good attacking sequence. Walney, central ball, out top, follow-up chance, and into the upper corner. We're level at one. What a strike from Mateus Quiros. Brazil right back in it.
Take a look at it here. A little bit lax defending from the U.S. Ball pops out nicely for Quiros. Great technique, great finish. But his celebration, I'll be honest, Mark, about having a baby, I'd hope that at 16 he's not having a baby, let's be honest.
Maybe he's got a little brother.
I hope it's that. I hope it's that, but a fantastic goal against the run of play. It'll be interesting to see how both teams respond to that goal.
Really the first real chance for Brazil, too, Jamie, that they get a good look at the U.S. goal. And really not much Paul Christensen could do in the nets. Thing was struck with power and into the upper corner.
What would worry me if I'm a U.S. fan is that's the first time in the first 15 minutes of the game that Brazil actually had possession in their half. They keep it for 30 seconds to a minute, and all of a sudden the shape of the U.S. gets all disjointed. They get a great opportunity and a great finish.
Good recovery from Guy Kabala to keep it alive for more. Knocked out by Walney. Baird just trying to dump it over his shoulder. Flores was the closest U.S. player there, and then headed out by Eriks, the captain for Brazil. Touch toward the end line. Down goes one of the Brazil players. It's Abner, the left back. Immediately grabbing onto the right shoulder. It was a hard 50-50 challenge there from Shaquille Moore and Abner.
Good positive play by Shaquille Moore. Good tackle by Abner. He seemed to get hurt after he was cheering. So we'll take that into consideration. Maybe we should tell the trainers that bit of info. But he might have rolled his shoulder a bit.
He was feeling the emotions of a hard challenge in the corner, and all of a sudden back down onto his back and grabbing the right shoulder. So it's our first appearance of the Magic Water. And the spray. I've always wanted to ask about the spray. I mean, does it just...
I have some at home.
Does it just numb it for a few minutes?
Takes care of everything.
Great crowd on hand here at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. A huge gathering of youth teams coming down for the showcase that has gone on for the last couple of days and will spill over into tomorrow. And as you would imagine, the schedulers did a fantastic job of making sure that all of the games had concluded by early this afternoon. And thus all of the youth teams from all over the country showing up here to see this final match here in the Nike International Friendlies. Probably about, let's say, 5, 6 deep all the way around the field.
I actually thought that was going to work against the U.S. Just the pressure of having so many people watch them for the first time. Their own home fans, the crowd behind them. But they've responded pretty well. Outside of the goal, they put together a pretty good first 20 minutes.
Good work on the ball there by Rubio Rubin. U.S. push it out wide here for Requejo Jr. Tuesday, make sure you note the early in the morning start time, 3:30 a.m. Eastern time. It's an international friendly. The final match of the Asian and Down Under Tour, as Christensen brings this one in here for the U.S. Two-time A-League champions down in Australia, the Melbourne Victory, will take on three-time MLS Cup champions, the LA Galaxy. 3:30 a.m. Eastern time. That is 12:30 a.m. out west, Tuesday on Fox Soccer.
Mark, you can feel a lull now in the game. After that injury, everything's slowed down a little bit. So it's going to be very important for both teams to make sure they keep the tempo up, continue to play on the front foot, and maintain possession the other team's half. Right now, the U.S. is winning in that area, but you got to watch out for Brazil. Like they showed, one opportunity they can score.
Moore with the throw in there for Baird. A bit of work there from Corey Baird, but he couldn't hang on to it for the U.S. Lima making his first start today for the U.S. in the Nike International Friendlies. Leaves it out wide for John Requejo Jr. One Californian to another. Kabala away from pressure, back here for Tyler Turner. Lofts it wide for Moore. Not an easy ball for Shaquille Moore to handle there, but he does. Knocked out by Brazil right on the midfield stripe here for a throw for the U.S. Flores hasn't had a couple of touches in the last few minutes. Pokes it wide for Lima. Lima lets it go with his left foot. And a soft roller into the gloves of Guilherme. Christopher Lima out of Ridgefield, New Jersey. Another one of those New York Red Bull Academy players on the roster for Wilmer Cabrera. touches here from the U.S. Forward for Wesley Wade. Trying to turn there against Marcel. And then Fack will pick up a free kick.
Another good turn from Wesley Wade. Big, strong player, very fast, good feet. But all this patience. I have all the strings that are being pulled are by one player only. That's Junior Flores. When he has his fingerprints on the U.S. attack, good things happen.
And it'll be Flores and Lima standing over the free kick chance here as Brazil line up 2 right in the corner of the 18. Moore, Connor Donovan, Wesley Wade, Tyler Turner, all collecting on the penalty spot here for the U.S. Bending in toward that spot. And Rubio Rubin would have had his second if he was able to angle that into the corner. Great look for the right-sided midfielder.
Another great ball by Junior Flores. Rubio Rubin wide open. Just mistimes that, hits his shoulder. Maybe closed his eyes. Whatever it was.
Really, I mean,
he'd want it back.
Yeah, he really had 2-3 yards of space all around him.
I would call that the Chris Klein header. Chris Klein was notorious for getting in great spots ahead of ball, and then it would never go exactly where he wanted it to.
Just poked away there by Tyler Turner. Baird able to turn and run right at the Brazil defense. Cuts it back onto his left foot. Overlapping run here. Flores tripped up at the top of the 18. And the U.S. will get the free kick. Tried to keep his feet, Junior Flores, but eventually was tripped up. And some frustration boiling over, and that'll bring out the game's first yellow for Abner.
Abner looks a little frustrated with the call. He's got to keep his emotions in check. Still a lot of time. Don't want to get thrown out. Junior Flores again involved heavily in the attack. The ball was supplied by Corey Baird. I really like when Corey Baird gets the ball, he turns and looks forward. He's always looking forward. Doesn't play safe, doesn't play back. He wants to go, go, go. And I think that makes a big difference to why the U.S. is so far up the field and getting good opportunities.
It's probably a good question for debate. We'll get to it later on here in the match, whether you like Corey Baird better up top or from an attacking wide position. But first, let's deal with the free kick chance. The U.S. has to be licking their chops from this spot right here. You have the left foot of Christopher Lima and the right foot of Junior Flores. Which do you prefer?
I'm going with Junior Flores.
Right foot, maybe bend it in to that upper corner. Looks like it's going to be Lima, and he hits it up and over the crossbar.
One of those free kicks where you just want to make the goalie make a save. You let him off the hook by not putting it on frame. Even if it goes right at him, the next time he has to step up, he's thinking, this guy, you let him off the hook. He doesn't have to do anything. He's like, thank you for missing that. But if you put one on frame, then next time he's thinking, all right, he just might need to hit this a little bit better. I need to be on my toes.
Ensuing goal kick, headed out by Shaquille Moore right into the Brazil bench. 25 minutes and change gone here at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. Rubio Rubin, a 5th goal scorer here in the Nike International Friendlies for the U.S. to make it 1-0. But a response from Mateus Quiros, the Sao Paulo product, to make it 1-1. Kabala picks it up just outside the U.S. 18. Direct ball forward. Not a good clearance from the Brazil captain, Eriks. Here's Baird, as you mentioned, sending it forward for the U.S. Wesley Wade trying to chase it down in the corner, and he'll force it out for a goal kick here for Brazil.
Good movement again from the U.S. I'd say overall, they've been the better team. They've had more possession. They've had more opportunities. Fortunate to give up that one goal. Their shape was a little bit loose. But this is the time of game over the left before against France, against Turkey, where they started to lose their way. Let the other team fall back into the game and start to dictate what was happening.
I'll mentally gauge what you're seeing here from this U.S. under-17 side, because it was very emotional in that opening 10-15 minutes. And as you said just a moment ago, the game is starting to settle in now a little bit.
Well, they seem to not be affected by giving up goals, which could be good and bad, because you don't want your team to get used to getting into the habit of giving up goals. But this seems to just roll off their shoulder, and they keep going and going and going. as evidenced by their 2 late goals against France and Turkey. So there is something to it, but you got to work on being a little bit tighter, a little bit more disciplined when the ball is in and around their box.
If you missed it back on Wednesday against France, it was in stoppage time. A Wesley Wade strike to make it 2-2, and then a couple of nights ago against Turkey, it was Junior Flores in the 88th minute to give the U.S. a 2-1 win. And that brings us here to Sunday evening in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. All to play for in terms of a championship here in the 2011 Nike International Friendlies. Lima trying to dump it down there for Requejo Jr. Brazil with a straight clearance, but not before the ball goes out over the sideline.
There's just something off about Brazil right now. They're missing the simple stuff. They're rushing their passes. It's just very unlike them and what you expect when you think of a team like Brazil. But we saw this with Turkey last game for the U.S. Turkey didn't look very good in the first half, but came out blazing in the second half, and the U.S. wasn't prepared for it.
Good exchange there from Baird and Flores. And then cleared out by Marcel. Crowd urging for a whistle from Matthew Forster. Do you agree?
Yeah, no call. There's no foul there. Good first touch by Junior Flores to put himself in that position to maybe get fouled. But a good play ultimately by the Brazilian defense.
Baird, good collection back for Requejo Jr. in the direction of Wesley Wade. Challenges for a header. Moore will send it back in, but the offside flag up against Junior Flores. Calling Flores' name quite often, and as you've really stated, Jimmy, in both of the previous broadcasts and already here tonight, this is the guy that the U.S. needs to find in the middle part of the park. He's the catalyst going forward. If he has a lot of touches, you have to like your chances of success.
Mainly because he always makes the right decision on the ball. The weight of his passes, which foot he plays it to his teammates, makes the game easier for everyone he's playing with. And so the more he can touch it, like you mentioned, the better off the U.S. is going to be.
Rare touch here in the first half for Paul Christensen, the goalkeeper out of Woodinville, Washington, and a part of the Seattle Sounders Academy. Zé Agosto lofts it forward. Requejo Jr., the left back there for the U.S. Flores dumps it wide here for Ruben. Kavala. All sorts of space out wide on the other side for John Requejo Jr. Baird checking run. Forward here for Flores. Good touch to keep it for the U.S. Gets around the challenge from Marcel. You would think that maybe would produce a card.
Another good play, great feet by Junior Flores. You can only imagine how sore he is after games. He gets kicked all over the place.
Well, the thing is and you and I were talking about it off air, is the fact that he plays bigger than his size. I mean, he sticks in hard for 50-50 challenges.
He's a soccer player. He wants the ball in all situations.
Bent into the area. Connor Donovan with the best look at it. Chance still alive here for the U.S. Hint of a handball inside the area. The shot in the corner! Turner! He strikes again!
Good play to keep it alive, Shaquille Moore. It's bouncing around. Hint of a handball. Good feet by Tyler Turner. Picks up the top corner. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, just had to get it off his feet. That's 2 goals in 2 straight games for the captain, Tyler Turner.
And the first player to record 2 goals here in the 2011 Nike International Friendlies, Tyler Turner, the captain here for the U.S. Under-17s. Hey, not bad footwork, like you said, for a center back.
The center backs are a little bit better than people give them credit for, Mark. We can play.
Actually, Tyler Turner is a player that can also spend some time in the midfield if needed. But as Wilmer Cabrera told us earlier in the week, He loves his skill on the ball at the back, and when you combine him with a player like Connor Donovan, it gives him a little bit of a yin and yang, if you will. Hard challenge from the right back, Kau, and that will produce a yellow card. Requejo Jr. took a boot right to the midsection.
Take a look. Good ball from Connor Donovan. Switch the point of attack. Kau gets there just a little bit late. John Requejo definitely takes that one for the team. But again, it's another example of the frustration of Brazil. And I assume they're going to get a stern talking to at halftime about the way they're playing, their body language, and their lack of possession. I mean, that's what you know what the Brazilians can do. They like to keep it, have a little bit of flair on the ball, and make you pay.
Well, you look over at the Brazil bench, and it's been pretty quiet from Emerson de Avila, the 44-year-old Brazilian head coach, and the rest of his staff, occasionally getting up off the bench, but quiet so far. Flores weaving himself through Brazilian players. Couldn't keep the possession, though. The final touch got away from him. And Joe Anderson, the striker, coming back deep to try and get a touch. Wesley Wade faces up against Brazil's defense. Flores trying to slip it through there for Corey Baird. Kavala steps in here for the U.S.
Now that the U.S. has found the second goal and has got the lead again, you have to wonder if they can learn from that first goal. Keep their discipline, keep their concentration until halftime, and they can get further instruction from head coach Wilmer Cabrera.
34th minute of play, 2-1 U.S. Handball whistle there against Gabriel.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure the safety of the players and spectators, please do not lean on the field boards. Thank you.
Here you see Wilmer Cabrera, experience as a player in Colombia, Argentina, Costa Rica. Played in 2 World Cups for Colombia. But as a trivia question, I don't think many would know where he ended his playing career. I'll give those at home a moment to try and figure it out.
If you give me the whole game, I don't think I'd figure it out. I should know that. Are you giving out hints?
It's not an MLS club. How about that?
Okay.
It is in the U.S. though.
Interesting.
Zé Augusto heads it down here for Gabriel. Cuts right past Kabala. Lets it go from about 30 yards out. Pushed away. For those that have caught the previous 2 games for the U.S. down here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, there is still a slight breeze here, but not nearly to the degree that we saw back on Wednesday or on Friday. The breeze still in a similar direction at the back of the U.S. players here in the first half. Moore, a little heavy on the first touch. Brazil win it back. Joe Anderson trying to turn. Good positioning from Connor Donovan, and Christensen will clear.
35 minutes into the game, Mark. Been really impressed with the U.S. I mentioned that lull that they've had in the previous 2 games. They seem to have fought right through that. Scored a good goal, gave them a little bit of confidence. What I worry about now, from the U.S. perspective, is coming out of halftime. Because they were up a man against Turkey, and Turkey took them to task for the first 20 minutes of the second half.
Right.
And scored a goal, tied that one. It made it more exciting than it needed to be. Because you know the Brazilians are going to come out, they're going to get an earful from their coach, and that's going to, for me, be a reflection of what's going to happen for the rest of the game, the first 15 minutes of the second half.
Well, you wonder if these young players maybe have learned from that.
This is the development academy, so you'd hope they can learn, take these lessons, and develop quickly. You don't want it to wait, take a year for them to learn that lesson. You'd like to think it goes from game to game.
Right, and as you said, I mean, even in that game against Turkey, there were a lot of teaching points, including the way the U.S. responded, being up a player as a hard challenge from Guy Kabala. It seemed he arrived at the same time as Walney, but it's going to be the first yellow card handed out to a U.S. player coming here in the 37th minute.
I think maybe it's because one of his cleats was showing. Looked like he got there first. But the referees have a mandate from the higher-ups to make sure that they protect the players at all costs. If you ever see a cleat being shown, that's a foul and an easy yellow card.
Well, in all honesty, I think that's one of the things Wilmer Cabrera, as you see Matthew Forster, our referee here tonight, one of the things that Wilmer Cabrera likes about Guy Kabala in the midfield is his dominance, his ability to win the ball. Part of the New England Revolution Academy. While we have a lull here, Long Island Rough Riders.
Interesting. Was he just vacationing for the Long Island Rough Riders?
Hey, back in those days, you remember back in the late 90s or mid and late 90s, it was
I played against them in the A-League.
I was just going to
and
say,
they beat me.
A-League,
So
there was a lot of good teams in the A-League.
I have a lot of respect for the Long Island Rough Riders.
And your team was?
At that time in the A-League, San Diego Flash.
Knew we'd get a San Diego reference in here at one point or another. Just about 7 minutes left in regulation here in the first half. The teams have exchanged goals here so far, with the U.S. having the last and a 2-1 lead. Walney sends it in there for Quiros. He had the lone goal here in the first half for Brazil. The Sao Paulo product back on the ball. Lima disrupts things and the U.S. win it back. Flores stopping on a dime, but he played it into some traffic. Requejo Jr. still able to pick it up. Nice exchange with Baird. Flores, weaving run. Flores, can he get it wide? He does. Rubio Ruben, corner of the 18. Waits for some help. Shaquille Moore. The U.S. can't get much out of the possession as they were able to get deep into the end of Brazil.
Another good play by Junior Flores, slaloming through the Brazilian defense. Gets the ball wide out to Rubio Ruben. Probably has to make a different decision there. Here we'll take a look at Walney getting fouled by Guy Kabala. Good job of breaking a counterattack up, slowing the play down, making sure the whole U.S. team can get back behind the ball.
How much do you think now Kabala might have to be a little bit cautious, though, now that he has picked up that yellow card? I mean, you like his grit, his bite in the midfield, but that might get him into trouble.
He's got to be careful there. It was the right part of the field to make that foul. You want to do it in and around your own box. But yeah, you're right. He has to be careful. He has to pick his spots a little bit. And that might change how he plays the game, which could affect the U.S.
Long run here from Tyler Turner. To about 40 yards now. Now he's going to push it past Eriks, trying to get to the end line. Good defending there from the Brazilian center back. Back the other way comes Brazil. Late moments of this first half, and the game's starting to open up here. Gabriel centering pass just out of the reach of Joe Anderson, but still alive here for Brazil, as Quiros will chase it down in the corner. U.S. getting their shape defensively, headed away by Shaquille Moore. Still not out of it. Joe Anderson onto the back post, bounces all the way here for Gabriel. The shot, but the offside flag had already come up against Brazil.
Good attack by the Brazilian offense. For me, the best times that they had a good attack is when they switched the point of attack. Here we'll see the handball by Gabriel. Finds himself in a good spot. Again, another example of the U.S. having to play defense in their own half for a minute tops, and they still give up a great chance. It's something that Wilmer Cabrera is going to have to address at halftime if they want to see this game out.
Well, what do you imagine he would be saying to try and remedy that?
Well, he's got to get Connor Donovan and Tyler Turner have to talk, make sure everybody's engaged when the ball's in the half, to keep the shape. They don't want to create unnecessary gaps in the midfield, and they want to try to figure out a way to block passing lanes. So there's a little bit that has to happen there. Ultimately, it starts with communication.
Here's Connor Donovan chasing from behind, poke tackle to push it away. Kabala looks to clear. Almost can see Some of the U.S. legs getting a little bit tired here in these last few moments of this first half.
And this is when they need their leaders to step up and take control and see it out till halftime. And I think Wilmer Cabrera, after talking to him on numerous occasions, has yet to identify who those true leaders are. But they're starting to emerge.
Joe Anderson with the turn at the top of the area. Christensen hard out, just outside the 6 to smother it for the U.S. Remember, this is the point in the match when in the first half, back on Wednesday against France, they were holding on to a 1-goal lead and ended up going level into the halftime break. Not much pressure from Brazil. It looks like high pressure for a moment, sagging off now here for the Brazilian under-17 side. Lima sprays it out here for Requeijo Jr. Up and over the top, Junior Flores. Cuts it back a second time. Has some numbers inside the area. Loose ball! Wesley Wade makes it 3-1! They won't give one up, they'll get one.
Take a look. Who else? Mr. Junior Flores does a great ball into the box. Good composure here. Good feet, picks his head up, puts it in a good spot. Wesley Wade, a great run with a great finish. Great goal right before halftime.
Waiting from Flores in the 43rd minute. The U.S. now leads 3-1.
The U.S. came into this game having tallied 4 goals with 4 different goal scorers. They added a 5th to open the scoring 2 minutes in with Rubio Rubin. But that all changed now as Tyler Turner has tallied his 2nd of the tournament, and Wesley Wade now with his 2nd to make it 3-1 heading toward halftime.
If you're Brazil, you got to be incredibly disappointed by how this half has played out. Not a reflection of what they're about, what their country's about, and how they like to play the game. One of the subtleties that I really enjoyed of that U.S. goal, John Requeijo had the ball out wide, left back. And Junior Flores makes a great ball from the middle of a great run from the middle of midfield out wide. And that creates a lot of space, and it forces the Brazilian defense to make decisions. And that, for me, ended up why the goal was scored. He came out, he forced, well, does the midfielder go get him? Does the defender go get him? Who gets him? With responsibility, he finds himself in a good space, squared up against the Brazilian defense, takes on 1 or 2 guys, puts a good ball in. And I'm officially a Junior Flores fan. When can I get his jersey, Mark? When is that? Are they selling his jersey here?
We might know a few people. He detailed it early on in the half, talking about Shaquille Moore and John Requeijo Jr. getting forward as those outside backs and bringing another dimension to the attack for the U.S. Certainly we've seen flashes of that here in the first half. Terry Vaughn, our 4th official, with the board up. 2 minutes of stoppage time beginning now to close out this first half.
Yeah, outside of the goal they gave up, and maybe a couple other moments in the back that were a little nervy. This is probably the best half of soccer I've seen from the US U17 team in a very, very long time.
Right. Stick with us at halftime. I'll show you a new dimension and some of the continuing change for the U.S. under-17 national team heading into the end of 2011 and into 2012. And then we'll also have highlights, plenty of them, from this opening 45 minutes here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. Paul Christensen directing traffic as Brazil will set up a free kick. About 15 yards out from the corner of the 18-yard box. Gabriel, Walney both standing over it. It's going to be Gabriel, driven in, short ball, not the best service there. And the U.S. defense able to step up and clear it to midfield. Zé Augusto. Tyler Turner will clear towards midfield. Wesley Wade is there, but it's headed right back in by Marcel. De Augusto pulling up with an injury and still down, but Brazil continue to attack. Christensen will secure it. See, De Augusto, the Grêmio product, is still down. Christensen with the long clearance. It goes out of play, but instead, Matthew Forster will bring the half to a close. The training staff will come out to check on De Augusto in the middle part of the park. And the rest of the two teams will head toward the locker room for halftime. 45 minutes in the books, and the best half of play without question for this U.S. under-17 side. Consequently, through all the emotions, they take a 3-1 lead into halftime. Day 6 in the UEFA Champions League group stage. Tuesday, it is Olympiacos and Arsenal, 2 p.m. Eastern time starting. And then on Wednesday, Manchester City taking on Bayern Munich. That also a 2 p.m. Eastern time start. Both games live and in high definition on Fox Soccer Plus. Welcome back to Fox Soccer coverage of the Nike International Friendlies. It is halftime between the U.S. and Brazil. As the climate continues to change both on and off the field in U.S. soccer, one of the major differences you will see going forward is the move from a 6-month season to a 10-month season.
Soccer is a unique sport, unlike many other of our American sports, where the seasons actually do run for 10 months in many cases, and including training, sometimes it's 11 months. The U16 and U18 age groups around the world, from all leading nations, the kids are playing 10 months. And we felt that by lengthening the seasons and providing an opportunity for players to play with and against better players for 10 months would provide a better pathway for players to develop over the long term.
We got to start as early as possible to get the kids play as much as possible and feed and nurture them in their own personal environments.
The earlier we can get young aspiring professionals into the rhythm of playing for 10 months, it's going to prepare them much better than it has in the past.
This is the model. We all have to buy into it. This is the only way, if we're going to do it, to keep the best players training, playing at a consistent level, let coaches train over a longer period of time.
It's just a more professional, structured environment, and I think it benefits the players, the staff, everybody that's involved in the game.
When we had the 6-month season, we couldn't look forward to any games. We were basically just trying to get through day to day. Now with the 10-month season, it's spread out. It seems more professional.
Once the players bought into the whole 10-month season, it makes coaching and the consistency of coaching night and day. It is such a much better platform for the players to relax and develop, and for the coaches just to coach.
It doesn't seem like a boot camp like it did last year. It's more of like a progression where we're getting better and we're growing on each other. There's a lot more chemistry than there was last year, I think, with not only our team, but with a lot of other teams too.
It's going to be expected for elite level players to be playing in the 10-month schedule with their academy programs so that they can be identified for international play, to play on the national team.
The current group of under-17s began their 10-month season back in late August and have a couple of weeks remaining to conclude the current fall semester. All right, when we come back, it is highlights from the first half between the U.S. and Brazil. Stay tuned. We bring you back to Florida right after this. Day 6 continues next week. Chelsea and Valencia. That is Tuesday, December 6th, 2 p.m. Eastern time, live and in high definition. And then on Wednesday, Basel, the Swiss side, will play Manchester United. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern time starts, live in high definition. We welcome you back to Lakewood Ranch, Florida. A packed house here, and we're only 45 minutes through it. The U.S. with a 3-1 lead against Brazil. It's the final match for both teams in the Nike International Friendlies. Jimmy Conrad, Mark Rogandino, the rest of our Fox Soccer crew. Jimmy, I think if I told you it was going to be a 3-1 scoreline, I don't know that you would have been able to say you thought it would be the U.S.
Well, I definitely thought it was going to be Brazil. Really a tale of two different teams. One playing very, very positively, that's the U.S., and the other one not playing that great. And like you said, I actually thought
the U.S. were going to be the ones playing a lot of defense. So it's really been impressive. Probably the best first half I've seen from the U.S. U17 team in a very long time.
If you missed any of it, through the magic of television, we show you the first half highlights. And just 2 minutes into the match, Rubio Rubin.
A great awareness from Rubio Rubin. Finds himself in a good spot, takes a peek over his shoulder. A great finish from one of our upcoming midfielders.
Speaking of great finishes, Quietos with a blast into the corner to make it 1-1 in the 16th minute of play. But then in the 31st minute of play, the U.S. would respond and put themselves back in front.
Yeah, it's a scramble in front of the box. Of course, Junior Flores put the free kick in, but got to tip your hat to Tyler Turner, the captain. Got himself out of a tough spot. Great finish.
Turner's second goal of the competition to make it 2-1. And then just before the halftime break, one more for the U.S.
Who else? Junior Flores pulling the strings, puts a good ball in a good spot. Wesley Wade makes a great run. Easy tap in.
Also the second of the competition for Wesley Wade as he scored a late goal against France back on Wednesday. So that all accounts to a 3-1 lead for the under-17s from the U.S. Quick glance at your first half stat sheet. Shots on goal, 5-3 in favor of the U.S. And the two teams with one yellow card for the U.S. and 2 for Brazil. Makes for an entertaining second half. That's coming up when we come back. We'll also be joined by a very special guest. Stay tuned. We're back on Fox Soccer. Second half to kick off here between the U.S. and Brazil. 3-1 is your score line. As promised, we bring you a special guest here on our coverage on Fox Soccer, the Nike International Friendlies. MLS Commissioner Don Garber
here, guys.
joins Mark Rogandino and Jimmy Conrad.
All right, guys.
I understand a little bit of downtime here after the conclusion of the MLS season.
But if you're going to do that, you might as well do that where there's going to be hundreds of kids, thousands of kids in the stands, lots of coaches, lots of trainers. So can't get the soccer out of me, Mark.
A lot of soccer here, too.
A lot of soccer. A lot of soccer.
Now, there's been a big emphasis on youth academies, especially this one, the residency program. How long do you think it's going to take before the MLS teams have their own residency programs? Is that something we're looking for in the next 5 years, or is that a 10-year project?
Good question, Jimmy. Right now, all of our clubs have academies. All of them are here for the this Development Academy program. All of them participate in the U.S. Development Academy. And Vancouver has a residency program. It's the only one that we have, but right now I think it's just trying to build the depth of the actual academy programs themselves. Go deeper, go younger, go more free to play and more full-time training.
And that's not just on the player side, that's from a coaching perspective, too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, our clubs, it's a statement as to how far the league has come to think about how deep our academy programs are, all in the last couple of years.
Now, with MLS, obviously a great season. LA Galaxy was the best team. They ended up winning the championship. You guys have tinkered with the playoffs a bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what you expect for next year?
The hope is that the league continues to grow, gets a bit more exciting. I think with the 19th team, another team in Canada, our schedule will get a little more complex as it has been growing and growing over the last number of years. But our playoff format's one we're excited about. I think our fans will be excited about. The big change, obviously, is the MLS Cup being in a non-neutral site, and the challenge for us being able to manage that. We're working now to figure out if we could have 2 weeks between the last championship game and our cup event. We're trying to work all that stuff out now.
Don Garber, MLS Commissioner, joining us up here in our broadcast position as we're into the second half here for the Nike International Friendlies. U.S. now defending the goal to the 3 of our right side and attacking from right to left across your screen in the all-white kits, and in front by 2 goals after the first half of play. Don, obviously, as we just alluded to, a little bit of downtime for you, but there isn't much downtime because there's a lot to get to, including the MLS draft just around the corner.
Yeah, the expansion draft took place with Montreal taking their players. There's so many things going on, Mark. Unfortunately for all of us who work in the league, no downtime whatsoever. I've had a couple of days, took it down here in the Sarasota area, but man, it's back to work. We've got all of our teams coming into the MLS offices over the last week and the next 2 weeks. All of them present their annual business plans. The team chief business officer comes in, their coaches come in, their technical directors come in, and they all talk about what their plans are for the 2012 season. Opportunity for the league and our clubs to work together, try to get better.
Take a look at the foul down here in the U.S.'s end, and then you see that little jab step there from Bruno, the Sao Paulo forward.
That should have been a yellow card, man.
We've seen a couple yellow cards through the first half so far. Before we let you go, how would you gauge the level of play and maybe what you caught a glimpse of out here tonight?
Just a couple of things. I think tonight our guys look terrific. It's proving that the program in Bradenton, the residency program, is working well, but also shows that the game is getting better at a young age and guys are training more, better, much more skillful. I mean, Flores, number 10, really is a very, very quality player. But the fact that we have so many teams, 78 youth academy clubs here, is just remarkable and a big statement as to where the sport is. The fact that Fox is broadcasting it is another statement to how far the sport has come in our country.
Well, I do have some bad news for you. You mentioned Flores. Jimmy has already called dibs on his jersey after the game, so I'm not going to let you be able to.
He could have his jersey. I want him playing in the league.
There you go. There you go.
Touche.
We got something here.
Long cross all the way across. Gabriel trying to center it back in front, and the U.S. will clear, and that will trickle out. While we have a moment, we'll let you get back to enjoying a little vacation time. We appreciate you stopping by, and look to see you down the road for some MLS in 2012.
Take care, buddy. See you later.
Absolutely.
Right.
Take care, Jimmy. Good seeing you guys.
That is MLS Commissioner Don Garber on the spot, just joining us here up in our broadcast position. And always appreciate some of his time. Loose ball in front, and Christensen will gather it in with the gloves. So a couple of chances in the early moments of this second half for Brazil. The U.S. has been able to so-called weather the storm so far early, but this is something you almost sensed was coming when we were going out to the end of the first half, Jimmy. You said they would need to guard against this, and we've seen Brazil with a little more energy to open up the second half.
Well, to be honest, I was just stating the obvious. I mean, Brazil had no other option but to come out and play free. They're down 2 goals. They've got nothing to lose, and that makes them a very dangerous opponent for the U.S.
You did probably see the graphic that came in to begin this second half. As Brazil made one change. Linick, the Vitória product, coming into the game to replace Walney. And Linick was the player that had the winner in the 1-0 win against Turkey back on Wednesday.
Still waiting for the Brazil team that everybody expects to show up and start playing. They still look a little unsure of themselves, still waiting for somebody else to maybe make the play and not take responsibility for themselves. Just a good look at Linick. Like Mark said, scored the goal against Turkey. Very, very skillful player. I don't know why they don't start him. He's a very exciting player to watch and got great feet.
Have to keep an eye on Brazil and see how much maybe it alters the formation, because Walney was a player that, at least in the initial lineup page, we listed him as a wide midfielder. You could see him drifting on both sides wide in the opening 45 minutes. There is Linick tracking back to help Brazil win it centrally, and puts it onto the feet of Eric, the Brazil captain, with the long ball forward. Joe Anderson looking to turn. Shot. Christensen got a fingertip to it, I believe. And no, it's going to be a goal kick, so no touch there from the U.S. keeper.
Good play by Joe Anderson. Gets himself in a good spot inside of Shaquille Moore. Fortunate not to hit that back corner. What's interesting for me, Mark, is as this game progresses, as the time dwindles down, how much Brazil's going to have to play out of their comfort zone. We know they like to play in tight spaces, but for them to get any kind of result or get closer to the goal, they're going to have to start playing more direct. And psychologically, I just don't know if that's in them. They have a lot of pride in playing a certain way, and I just don't know if they're going to resort to that. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage the situation moving forward.
Well, if there is indeed another goal in this game, either way, it really could change the complexion a lot. If it's the U.S., then now they got a 3-goal cushion. But if it's Brazil and all of a sudden now it's a 3-2 game, that's going to be a lot of pressure on these young U.S. players' shoulders.
And as a U.S., if you're a U.S. fan, I mean, that's not a bad thing. You want these guys to develop. You want them to be in situations where they have to figure out how to win games and manage leads. They didn't do it very well against Turkey. They ended up finding a way there at the end to do it. But these are good moments for them. These are the reasons they're playing this game.
Long switch here for Brazil. Cahill will try and shield it out here. And under pressure, he is able to do so. So a throw here for the U.S.
Wilmer Cabrera put a big emphasis on not only playing a lot of games for the U.S., but playing in tough games against tough opponents so that his team could get exposed so they could learn from their mistakes. You don't learn anything if you win all the time. Winning glosses over a lot of stuff. They lose, they're in tough situations. That's going to force them to learn, and they get to watch video and then make adjustments. And it's easy for the kids to see that and identify it when they can see it on video.
Under some pressure right now. A chance for Joe Anderson. Initial shot deflected. The follow-up the same. Still alive, though, here for Brazil. The U.S. able to get a touch to clear it. Now Corey Baird will dump it down into the feet of Christopher Lima, who sends it out to midfield. Wilmer Cabrera is going to have to continue to stand at the edge of his technical area and make sure that he gets the message through to these young players.
Hey, we need to get the ball and move forward. Come on. On wide. Yes, go. Yes. On the ground now.
Kabala couldn't control it. Queiroz comes away with it. Driven into the feet of Joe Anderson. Connor Donovan comes underneath to strip it, but just for a moment. Abner. Requejo with the clearance. No question the U.S. are under some pressure here in the early moments of the second half. Raquel Moore over to defend. Scrambling defense here for the U.S. Lennox couldn't find the touch to slip through a small window. And now here comes the counter at Champ. Ruben sends it into the corner, looking for Wesley Wade to track it down. Solid defending there from the Brazilian center back. Shot deflected away by Marcel. Lima can let this float out for a throw, but instead elects to keep it in. Baird in between a couple of Brazilian defenders. Left-footed ball. Wade had a look with it. Just a little too high, though, for Wesley Wade. Angle up in the corner will give Brazil a free kick.
Good feet by Corey Baird in the corner. Splitting two Brazilian defenders, puts a great ball in. A little mistimed, maybe jumped a little bit too early for Wesley Wade. Good chance for the U.S.
Little dummy through the legs of Bruno. Connor Donovan slides over, and the shot right into the heart of the midsection there of Paul Christensen.
Being a center back myself, I'm familiar with Tyler Turner, just getting rolled off a dummy. And that's one of those moments Wilmer Cabrera can use. Hey, next time this play happens, you can feel it set up. Keep your feet, make sure you prepare yourself, knowing that that dummy might be coming.
Direct ball forward this time. That should float into the gloves of Christensen, and it does.
But for Brazil, I'd be worried that one of your top forwards, Bruno, this is the first time he's been involved in the game. 55 minutes, and that's his first real opportunity, his first real impact on what's happening in this field.
Wesley Wade trying to win it at the back there against Eric.
Take a look here. Eric's the captain, does a great job shielding the ball. A little bit of a tangle with Wesley Wade. It's part of the emotion of the game.
And a good hard fight from two talented athletic players. Connor Donovan tripped up for a moment. Christensen will clear from inside of his own 18. Hard challenge there from Abner coming over the back. Will give the U.S. a free kick out near midfield. Even at a professional level, Jimmy, I mean, it's tough to sometimes convince players to take their foot off the gas pedal, slow the pace of the game, but that certainly, I would think, is something Wilmer Cabrera is going to try and do at certain points of the second half.
And the guy they have to find to do that is Junior Flores. He's the guy that is good at making the right decision, so whether that's playing the ball wide or looking forward, he's the guy that need to find the ball for both keeping possession and trying to create attacks.
More tackles to stop the attack for Brazil for a moment. Lennox, little chip up over the top, and anticipated by the goalkeeper, Paul Christensen.
Opportunity wasted for Brazil. Lennox finds himself in a good spot, sees the 1-2, A little bit too heavy on the pass, but if he just picked up his head, looked to his right, he had two wide open guys that could have created a very dangerous opportunity for Brazil.
There's Flores. Moore trying to play the early ball through up the right side there for Rubio Rubin. That creates the chance back the other way for Brazil, but they don't make the most of it. Brazil pick up the possession here at midfield. Eriks. Connor Donovan will just send it out for a throw here for Brazil. You can see the crowd 4 or 5 deep all the way around the field here at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. As you might imagine, majority of the crowd here to support this U.S. under-17 team, but there's a couple of Brazil jerseys scattered throughout as well. Kabala sends it forward here for Wesley Wade, trying to turn there against the pressure from Kau. Linnick, second half sub with the fresh legs. Blindly played it forward toward the space. No one on the end of it.
There's a lot of hoping in the Brazilian attack. They hope they're going to get on the end of passes. They hope they get a shot off. They don't seem to be playing with much purpose, as we've come to expect, especially in the first 2 games that we got to watch them play.
Rubio Rubin, who opened the scoring here tonight, tripped up in midfield.
Good first touch out of pressure by Rubio Rubin. Definitely one of the players of the game thus far.
Correct.
There's still 30 minutes for other players to step up.
Exactly 30 minutes indeed. An hour gone here. In the final game for both the U.S. and Brazil. I don't know if we mentioned it earlier on the broadcast, but it was a thrilling 3-3 draw between Turkey and France, leading up to our first half kick here this evening. So France end up with a draw in every one of their matches, while Turkey come away with just 1 point out of their 3 matches, the one they earned today. The focus all on this match here. Bruno, trouble bringing it down, but another Brazilian player there, and Linnick, and he buries it just wide of the far post. Great turn onto the left foot, though, by the sub.
Great piece of skill from Linnick, but again, he finds himself in a good spot to maybe set up somebody else. He looks to do it all by himself. Take a look here. He's got 2 different options. It's not a bad chance. I don't blame him for trying to look for that opportunity. You don't get too much time in the opposing team's box. But again, if he just picks up his head, maybe takes a look around before he gets the ball, put himself maybe giving Brazil a chance to get a second goal in this game.
Mateus Quiros lets it fly from long distance. And Christensen wisely says, let's slow things down for a moment here. We're facing a lot of pressure. Just as I say that, I glance down to the U.S. bench, and it looks like Wilmer Cabrera readying some changes.
Another good long-distance shot from Quiros. A lot of confidence from that goal he scored in the first half. Gave it the kind of why not chance, why not swing.
Right. Requejo had too many touches here in the second half. Lima switches it out. Shaquille Moore. Rubio Rubin making the advancing run, and now he'll get it onto his feet. Moore on the overlap attempt, but out for a throw here for the U.S.
Another good instance of when you switch the point of attack, how much time it gives you to make decisions and to set up what you want to set up. It forces the other team to play defense. Ball gets out wide to Shaquille Moore. He's got 3 options on the ball. Had they stayed on that one side, maybe it wouldn't have been like that. It would have been a little bit tighter, and Brazil would have had a better chance to win the ball. But when Brazil and the U.S. look to switch the point of attack, it changes the whole complexion of how they approach the opposing team's goal. He'll take another look at that tackle. Great tackle by Abner. Another return tackle by Rubio Rubin. A little bit too much of the body.
It's the second guy that always gets whistled, right?
Always.
Abner who was down with a right shoulder injury in the first half, is back down on the turf here in the second half.
He's a bit dramatic. That's part of the game. He actually should probably carry just a can of Magic Spray in his shorts. That'll just solve the problem.
That's the next step. That's the next step, right? You just spray yourself. Lima picks it up here for the U.S., trying to slip it through here for Wesley Wade. And a long clearance from Brazil. Tyler Turner with his back to the defender and facing up against his own goal. Does well to get out of his own end. Here's Wade again, standing it up. The ball stays in as Gabriel tracks back to keep it here for Brazil. Turner, good positioning, able to come away with it. Requejo sends it out towards Ruben. Leaves it for Lima.
I got the Brazil one. 11's coming out.
Stoppage in play here with a whistle from Matthew Forster. Our referee will allow a couple of changes. 2 for the U.S. coming and 1 for Brazil.
Wesley Wade's coming off for DeAndre Robinson. I think people, ourselves included, were a little bit surprised DeAndre Robinson didn't start the game.
Right.
But after that first half, you have to think Wilmer Cabrera made the right decision. DeAndre Robinson's very, very talented. Not only can he play athletic, not only is he athletic, but he can play. And that's what I see with a lot of our U17s here.
The other change will be Guy Kabala coming off, and Steven Echeverria, who started in that spot as the defensive holding midfielder for the U.S. against Turkey, will come in and fill that role now here. Baird trying to push it past the first defender, still working. Finally Marcel comes in to clear it. Ruben keeps it alive though here for the U.S. Doesn't have to serve it in, but does anyway. Looking for Robinson, and he heads it wide of the Brazil goal. Joe Anderson off. And Ian will come on. Ian playing for Flamengo. No question, Brazil have taken the upper hand as far as possession and rhythm of play here in the second half. Although the U.S. have had some chances at the other end. Brazil will surge forward once again. We've seen a lot of this here. Ball pops loose for DeAndre Robinson. Flores will send it out wide. Baird, first time over the top into the space, but that is too heavy. And Jimmy, how much of this up-tempo attack that we're seeing from Brazil maybe is due to the fact that the U.S. know they have a 2-goal lead and not putting together the sequences like we saw in the first half?
Oh, I mean, that's exactly why. Because of the score, it forces Brazil to come out of their comfort zone, start to play a little bit more direct, but that's going to leave them vulnerable to the counterattack. They're starting to press numbers up. Abner, their left back for Brazil, continues to get forward, continues to almost play as a midfielder. And now with the inclusion of DeAndre Robinson into the game, I think he's going to have 1 or 2 chances to maybe ice this game with the U.S.
Good win at midfield there from Connor Donovan. Echeverria trying to push the ball forward for the U.S., but it pops wide here for Ian. First touches for him since he came on just a moment ago. Wide for Lennox, the other second half substitute. Ball stay in for Brazil down the right side. 2 defenders there, including Tyler Turner, the captain for the U.S. And the U.S. will come away with it, but the possession doesn't last. Quiros in a 50-50 challenge there against Lima.
Though they've had a pretty quiet game, it's been quietly solid. Christopher Lima, John Requejo on this left side for the U.S. Getting to see see their decisions, how they're working together in pairs to stifle the Brazilian attack has been impressive. It definitely needs to be noted, which is why I spoke up.
I'm glad you did.
That's why I'm here.
Good step in here from Shaquille Moore. Robinson kills it with the first touch. Good tracking back there from Abner to help Brazil win it back. Tuesday UEFA Champions League coverage will continue match day 6 on Fox Soccer, Chelsea and Valencia, 2 p.m. Eastern time in high definition on Tuesday. Lennox. Pushed away for a moment. Bodies fly, including Echeverria going down to the ground. Temper starting to flare a little bit here between the U.S. and Brazil. See if cooler heads can prevail as you see Tyler Turner being escorted away.
We'll see here. Echeverria gets tangled up. Gets kicked a little bit. It's a normal 50-50 thing. I just think the frustration of Brazil starting to spill over and see it in their body language. I think at the beginning of this game, or even when they were preparing for it, I think they underestimated the U.S. team.
Which would have been easy to do. You know, I mean, it is Brazil, #1, and
I got you, let him go.
I think we even talked about it a little bit. You know, we knew the U.S. was going to have to play a very, very good game to have an opportunity tonight. So far they have, but we still have 20 minutes left. And now the U.S. defense has to deal with a set-piece chance here for Brazil. Swung right into the wall. Rubio Rubin just tries to clear it. Tyler Turner will send it out. Now DeAndre Robinson cutting it back a couple of times, but the U.S. still can't get it out of their own end. Tons of space along this near side here, and the ball finally gets there for Ian. Lifting his chin and swinging it in toward the penalty spot. Connor Donovan heads it clear. U.S. still not out of danger yet. Same spot, Ian will try it again. This time he takes it to the end line. Good defending from Requejo.
So unfortunate for the U.S. They were under pressure for the last minute. DeAndre Robinson has the ball. He's turned. He's looking at the Brazilian defense. He's got a few different decisions he could make. I know he's under a little bit of pressure, but if he could hold it up there, it would have relieved a lot of pressure that the U.S. is under. And they wouldn't have given up this corner kick. But it allows Brazil to continue to have confidence, to continue to stay in the U.S. half. And we'll see what happens as a result of that.
First corner of the match by my count for Brazil. It comes here in the 72nd minute. And they'll get an opportunity to line it up once again as that one is cleared out by Corey Baird. Short corner this time here for the Brazilians. Gabriel in the corner. He couldn't keep it on his feet. Lost it for a moment and out for a goal kick here.
It's a microcosm of their evening for Brazil.
Right.
Just they lack a little bit of purpose when they have the ball. They don't have any weight on their set pieces. They don't seem to be combining very well. Very surprising performance by Brazil thus far.
We've only seen glimpses of this Brazilian under-17 team since we've been down here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. What would you say is maybe a player or two that you think needs to stand out a little more? We'll get to that in just a minute. Rubio Rubin, meanwhile, for the U.S., if they could add a fourth, it would be huge. And poked away as Abner will come onto it for Brazil.
Well, for me, it starts with number 10, Gabriel. He's either picking up the ball right in front of his back four, or he's picking it up right behind the forwards. There's no real consistency to where he's picking up the ball, and that might be by design. But I think when you're playing within a team, they have to know and expect where you're going to be. So when they pick up their head, all right, Gabriel's in this spot. He's going to pick up the ball here. When he gets it here, he's going to make this decision. I can make this run wide. There's a lot of little things to him finding himself in the same spot. So for me, I've been disappointed with him. I expected a lot more from him this game.
Baird steps in at just the perfect moment to pick it up here for the U.S. Baird, quick to get it off of his feet. Flores muscled off the ball there. Eric's trying to earn a throw here for Brazil.
It's getting to that point in the game where Brazil is going to have to make a decision on when they're going to go for it. They can't just settle for a 3-1 loss. They're going to have to start to commit numbers and take more risk going forward. I don't know whether that's now, 15 minutes left, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left. You'd like to think with 2 goals to have to get back into this game, but at least tie it. You're going to have to start committing numbers here pretty soon in the next few minutes.
Corey Baird. Christopher Lehmann. Brazil just hopefully pushing it forward. Flag comes up here against Junior Flores. Farside referee certainly took an extra look at it to make sure he got it right, but I think it was indeed the correct call. Marcel coming out from the back. Wide here for Ian. Turner heads the first service away. Linnick on it now here for Brazil. Have to like the way that the U.S. hunting impacts in the middle part of the field. Always looking to double down on the ball. Flores, can he get one more? Flores! Just wide.
Does all the hard work. Finds himself in a great spot. Has time to pick his corner and hits it wide. But it all starts, Corey Baird again, looking forward, playing forward. Good run by Junior Flores out of midfield. Great feet. Maybe just had too much time. Sometimes when you have that moment to think, that's when you're like, oh, I'm going to score here, I'm going to score. And it doesn't go the way you want. But if it's just reaction, if it's just instinct, usually that's better.
What do they say about thinking? It only hurts the ball club. We are into the final quarter of an hour here at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, just south of Tampa, Florida. Former U.S. national team center back Jimmy Conrad, Mark Rogandino, the rest of our Fox Soccer crew here with you. Same score line, 3-1 that the U.S. took into the halftime break. And now, in the 9th edition of the Nike International Friendlies, trying to become the champions here in 2011. Both teams with a win and a draw in their first 2 matches to come into this game, their third, to wrap up the week's play. Flores lost his footing for a moment and then shouldered off the ball. Into the space here for Brazil. Gabriel touches it by the first defender, and then Moore just pokes it out.
So far, 77 minutes into this game, Mark. It's been kind of fun to see U.S. showing Brazil how to play soccer.
Yeah.
Because they've been that much better than Brazil this game. Brazil making a lot of mistakes, a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes from them. And here we're going to see Junior Flores coming off. Definitely deserves this round of ovation that he's getting.
Flores, you might have to say man of the tournament. He has scored, he's assisted, he's been the creator of so many U.S. attacks.
He had just finished that one last chance there.
Hands down then, right?
Would have been the cherry on top. It's hard for me to disagree with you. He's been fantastic.
Third corner of the game for Brazil. Eriks will try and keep this one in, and he does. Jimmy, you also have the opportunity to work with young players on the Major League Soccer level. Do you think a player like Flores, who just came off, is the type of player that has not only maybe a future in Major League Soccer, but possibly overseas.
You know, I actually polled a few people, coaches, agents, other players, and they don't know if he's going to get any bigger and how that might hurt him. But the guy can play soccer. He makes good soccer decisions. He's got a good brain for the game. And if he's playing against grown men or if he's playing against 16-year-olds out there, I think he can still have an impact. For me, I'd take him on my team. I'd love to play with him.
And I mean, would there be some discussion, do you think, that maybe he's not the central holding midfielder or offensive midfielder, but maybe he's a player you push out wide and he attacks from wide positions?
Yeah, and you actually have him come in and let the outside back get in and around. You try to get him in those pockets where he can get the ball and face you up. Because if he's playing back to goal, you don't see him having as much of an impact on the team. But if he can get it and look forward, he could be a very dangerous person for any MLS club.
Robinson, little step over to try and create some space, and he does. Eric's chasing there for Brazil.
I do like when people give the size excuse. Well, he's not big enough. Junior Flores isn't fast enough, or whatever it may be.
Well, I'm sure you heard some of those in your career, right?
Well, definitely the fast part.
Not big enough. I mean, not big enough. That wasn't one of it. But I'm saying there was knocks on you.
Of course,
I know.
Of course. There's knocks on every player, right? There's strengths and weaknesses. Everybody has those. But, you know, all you have to throw back to them is Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. I mean, those guys aren't. I mean, they're fast, obviously, but they've got good brains for the game. They understand how to play the game, how to create space, and make things happen. Now, I'm not going to necessarily put Junior Flores into that category just yet, but he has some qualities that make him a special player, and that's been evident over these last 3 games.
Janya Kafai getting a couple of touches here. He came on just a moment ago. He's a starter against Turkey, partnering up top with Corey Baird. It looks like Wilmer Cabrera just trying to bring more fresh legs on so that the U.S. can close this out here with a little more than 10 minutes left in the second half. Trying to get it out wide. And Raquejo with the hand up. And the AR obliges as the offside flag comes up here against Brazil. So 10 minutes left. More of the same for the U.S. if you're looking to kill off this match, Jimmy?
More of the same. Got DeAndre Robinson up top. He can help you with the speed. Corey Baird can stay out wide or come underneath. You know, they're going to have to figure out a way to not replace Junior Flores, but they're going to lock this game down. Everything they've been doing, team shape has been very good. That was a point of emphasis for Wilmer Cabrera heading into this. He was a little bit worried about his back four, but I think they've been excellent. Giving up a goal, a couple chances here and there, but overall, something to build on.
Pressure there from Corey Baird. Raquejo Jr. steps in. Speaking of step in, good defending for a moment there from Connor Donovan, but then it's pushed through here by Zé Augusto. Raquejo, not the cleanest of touches in the follow-up chance. Deflected wide as it came off with the left foot of Zé Augusto.
Good ball. Unfortunate not to put it on goal. Paul Christensen, though, the U.S. Not too much work today.
Just a lot of positional stuff, I think. You know, being in the right place to make sure he puts out any fires before they get going. Here's Christensen. And he uses a right hand to try and push that ball across, and he does. That will lead to the 5th corner of the match here for Brazil. They had none in the opening 45 minutes, and they've tallied up 5 here in the second half, while the U.S. 3 in the first half and none here in the second.
I'd like to think of Paul Christensen preparing for this game. Just thought he was going to get pelted. No offense to his defenders in front of him, but just because of the reputation that Brazil has.
Another change here for Brazil, as Renan Gomes will come in to replace Bruno.
I think that should have happened about 20 minutes ago. Not a good performance by Bruno.
Really, both the Sao Paulo strikers, Joe Anderson and Bruno, didn't do a whole heck of a lot in the game here. Christensen, a little late to arrive. Did he get enough of it? Follow-up chance off of the right foot there of Ian, goes just wide.
Good corner kick in. Christensen comes off his line, misses it. Good technique from Ian. just wide.
You may have seen another change for Brazil as Derlon just came on. Matthew Forrester trying to restore a bit of order. We've seen the tempers flare a little bit here in the second half. DeAndre Robinson will be the latest player to pick up a card as it comes here in the 84th minute of play.
As this game nears its end, it's going to get a little bit chippy. It's going to get a little emotional. The U.S. knows what they're holding on to, a chance to win the championship in front of all the home fans here. But for Brazil, an opportunity to extend their dominance. This is a tarnish to them in their reputation. We came out to play, and Brazil is lackluster.
Even when they got the goal in the first half, in the 16th minute, from Mateus Quiros, never really seemed to put their foot on the pedal. There was a couple of flashes I think you saw in the first half, and early in the second half, they've applied some pressure. Would you say they've been the better team in the second half?
I still think the U.S., their shape and how they're playing, they look more organized. They look like they know what they want to do, and they're playing together. I'd still give the nod to the U.S. They knew that Brazil was going to come out, take a little bit more risk, put some more guys forward. The U.S. has handled that well. So I don't want to take anything away from the U.S. performance. Brazil hasn't come out and shown what we think they can do, but you have to tip your hat to the U.S. for maybe putting them in those situations and getting them out of their comfort zone.
Still a full 5 minutes left in regulation. Brazil on the attack now through Ian. Looking for the big switch. Headed down. Chance to get one back. Good recovery there from Connor Donovan to push it away from Gabriel. And the follow-up there from Shaquille Moore. Abner gets tangled up on the far side with Rubio Rubin.
Take a look. Good play by Connor Donovan to cover his outside back, Shaquille Moore. Shaquille Moore looked like he anticipated the ball to skip a little bit more, checked up. Gave Brazil an opportunity, but good defensive instincts from Connor Donovan.
Kafai trying to slip it through for Corey Baird. Loose ball falls loose here for Baird. Pulls it onto his left foot, and it goes a yard wide of the far post.
All starts with a good immediate pressure from Kafai. Corey Baird, good first touch. Just misses the outside post.
And that gives Brazil a chance for another change here for Emerson de Avila. As Gabriel Barbosa, the Santos product, will come in. We've seen just about every club down in Brazil represented here tonight with this Brazilian under-17 team. Internacional, Grêmio, Sao Paulo, Flamengo, Figueirense, Corinthians, who, by the way, wrapped up the title in Brazilian football today. Early ball here for Christopher Lima. Kafai providing support, he'll get it. So with that sense of urgency, as you would imagine, being down by 2 goals and now with 3 minutes plus some stoppage time left. You know, overall, Jimmy, if indeed the U.S. holds on to win this game, it's heading that direction. A lot of positive things for Wilmer Cabrera. Linnick, great splitting ball. Shot, Christensen with the save. This is a team that now playing their 10th game in the cycle for this U.S. 17s, and just 2 losses in that process, one of them coming 3-0 to France about a month and a half ago. They've somewhat avenged that loss by going 2-2 with France. to open up the Nike International Friendlies. The other loss was a 2-1 loss against Peru, but I mean, that's a pretty good record. Just 2 losses in 10 games if this result holds up.
It just proves that they're figuring out a way to win games against top opponents. But there are some things to work on. Not like the first 2 games against Turkey and France were very clean. This is by far their best performance of the tournament. Something they should be very proud of, especially when they're going to hoist this trophy. I'm just going to call it now, here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So, yeah, there's things I like, but I demand a lot, and I'd like to see a little bit more from them, just a little bit more consistency and in the team shape.
Baird slips in behind Marcel. The center back for Brazil able to close the gap though, but Baird able to keep it. Centering pass looking for DeAndre Robinson and pushed away by Eriks.
And for Brazil, you just got to chalk this up to an off night. And just admit, do your press conference, do whatever it is, say the U.S. was just the better team tonight. It's that simple.
Hard challenge from Zé Augusto as he catches Shaquille Moore with the high boot. Matthew Forrester, a referee, has gone to his pocket. He's holding the yellow card, and it's going to be for Eriks. I think the follow-up after the initial challenge there from Zé Augusto.
Zé Augusto, give him a little bit of extra love there on the follow-through, on the tackle. You can tell the Brazilians are frustrated. They know they got beat fair and square tonight. No referee calls that they can use as an excuse or whatever it may be. So you'd like to think that they're going to lose with class, but it doesn't always work out that way.
All of the stoppage in play over the last few moments be added up in the head of our referee, Matthew Forrester. As we are about to tick into stoppage time, our 4th official, Terry Vaughn, steps up in between the benches. 3 minutes.
Indicated there will be a minimum of 3 minutes.
Minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time to close out the match. It's a walking pace from this point out, I would imagine, for the U.S. Omar Cabrera will turn to his bench once again. That's Corey Baird. Good performance from Corey Baird out of Escondido, California. I think we saw, Jimmy, a couple flashes of it the other day against Turkey, but top to tail in this one, he was very good.
Very good, very active. And like I said, the biggest part of his game that I really appreciate and enjoy is his willingness to look forward. His willingness to get out of tough situations and to play guys in attacking spots. There are a lot of players, some guys that used to be teammates back in the day, who, when they got in those situations, would play safe for fear of losing the ball. So, if anything, I'm excited about with this U17 team is they look to play, and they've got a lot of good ideas in and around the opposing team's box.
Kevin Pullitz makes his first appearance of the 2011 Nike International Friendlies, coming on here in stoppage time. Brazil quick to take the free kick. This U.S. under-17 team would be crowned just the 2nd ever winners of the Nike International Friendlies. For the first 7 years of the competition, it was more just a round robin, and as the name says, friendly format. Last year was the first time they crowned a true champion, and it was Turkey, the team the U.S. took out 2-1 a couple of nights ago. Christopher Lima trying to cut it past Marcel. Quiros had the lone goal in the first half for Brazil here on the night. Lima wins it back, but sends it out into the Brazilian bench. Inside what should be the final minute of stoppage time here.
Before this game, Mark, I was clamoring for the U.S. to put together a good performance. More than their 25 or 30 minutes they showed against Turkey and France. Tonight they did it. should be very proud. Wilmer Cabrera should be very proud of his boys. And I'm excited about the future of U.S. soccer.
Moore, just enough of a touch to disrupt things for a moment. Brave there from Echeverria to head it out. Abner. Good step in here from Lima. And the final whistle comes from Matthew Forster. The celebration ensues in Florida. Your 2011 Nike International Friendly Champions, USA. Jimmy, like you said, a nice job by Wilmer Cabrera and his staff preparing this team to come here in this competition. They've been together for about 3 months' time. And what a job to come away, not just unbeaten, but to take down Brazil in this fashion. Let's take a look at our match recap.
Good ball in from Junior Flores. Good awareness, though, from number 7, Rubio Rubin. Knew exactly where he is, where he was, what he wanted to do with it. And a classy finish, very, very early into the game.
Brazil would pull themselves level in the 16th minute through the Sao Paulo product, Mateus Quiros, with a blast into the corner.
A great technique by Quiros. Kids, if you're watching at home, that is exactly how you want to strike a ball.
But then the U.S. would come back in the 31st minute of play. What a finish from Turner.
He saw what Quiros did and said, you know what? I can do it a little bit better. Great feed by Tyler Turner, the captain. Huge goal a couple minutes before halftime.
And the U.S. was not done yet there in the first half as Wesley Wade would add a third. Cheeky little touch from Wade. 4th goal of the match between the two teams. 2nd goal in the competition for Wesley Wade. So the final tournament standings look like this. As I mentioned, the U.S. go unbeaten, 2 wins here against Brazil tonight. A win against Turkey a couple of nights ago after opening with a draw against France. So 7 points. They are the winners. And consequently, they are the champions here in 2011 for the Nike International Friendlies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to midfield, where U.S. Soccer and Nike
you see
will
them
now recognize the
celebrating, and that
the
brings out
2011 Nike
Sunil Gulati from
International
U.S.
Friendlies.
Soccer, who will come out to present the Nike International Friendly Trophy. And only fitting that Captain Tyler Turner will step up and take it into his hands first.
Hold it up. Now it's all yours.
Yeah, great performance by Tyler Turner. Much deserved. It's an exciting moment for the US U17s, something they can build on for the future.
Evan Lauro, the other goalkeeper, leading the chants down there that I believe that we just won, and indeed they did, as the U.S. 3-1 winners over Brazil. All the goal scoring coming in the first half, and hats off to Wilmer Cabrera and his staff. Well, also a first run for you and I through on this one. Jimmy Conrad, fantastic job.
Thanks for having me.
On behalf of producer Eric Grossman, director Jeff Strauss, the guys in audio, Rob Sheets, Todd Paluzik, Dave Hummel, and our stage manager, Deb Haver. I'm Mark Rogandino. The U.S. are your 2011 champions in the Nike International Friendly. So much fun. Let's do it again next year. So long, everybody.